Hello, and welcome to another episode of This, That, and the Other. I'm going to be discussing another Okinawa memory. I lived there for 5 years between 1971 and 1976, and I remember when we got our things delivered from the United States. We got a television. I remember one of the first things I watched in Japanese television was some of the Japanese animation, the cartoons. I remember some of the eyes had on the Japanese characters had different white spots on, like shadow reflections or something. The animation was definitely different from what you see in here. I think the foreign countries doing more of an aesthetic version on their cartoons. One of the big memories I remember from 1971-72, and if you lived there from 1971-1972, you may remember this as well. It was a show that was on a superhero series, science fiction series called Kamen Rider, K-A-M-A-N-R-I-D-E-R. The Japanese pronounced it Lida. How many of you remember this song? The show is I got some information about it on Wikipedia. It is a Takahatsu superhero television series and weekly science fiction manga created by manga artist Shotaro Ishinomori. It debuted on April 3rd, 1971 and ran from February 10th, 1973. From what I saw on another YouTube tape video, there were 123 different versions of Kamen Rider. From what I saw on that, it was almost a 15-minute video, and 6 of them were girls. I don't know really what the story is on it. I don't know if there were 123 different shows, or some of these characters were on the same show. I'm not sure. I just remember Kamen Rider between the original Kamen Rider and the second one. The first and second ones looked similar. Both had the bug-eyed look. If I remember right, the first one had 1 stripe on the side of the pants. The second one had 2. And then there was Kamen Rider V3. It also had the bug-eyed look, but a different looked a little different from what the first 2 looked like. And that's all I remember. After 1973, I kind of lost interest in those superhero shows and just growing up and everything. But a little background information I got. I'm going to read this from Wikipedia. The series takes place in a world plagued by Shocker, a mysterious terrorist organization. To further its plans for world domination, Shocker recruited its agents through kidnapping, turning their victims into mutant cyborgs, and ultimately brainwashing them. However, one victim named Takeshi Hongo escaped just before the final brainwashing. With his sanity and moral conscience intact, Hongo battled Shocker's minions as the grasshopper-themed altered human superhero Kamen Rider. Another victim of the altered human process, freelance photographer Hayato Ichimonji became Kamen Rider 2 after Kamen Rider, who named himself as Kamen Rider 1, saved him from Shocker's brainwashing. Assisted by motorcycle race team manager Tobei Tachibana and FBI agent Kazuya Taki, the Kamen Riders fought in both solo and partnered missions against Shocker and its successor organization, Gel Shocker. I remember they had various leaders too. That, if I remember right, the first one was a pirate. Looked like a pirate, had an eye patch, and then there was another one that, I'm trying to remember what those others looked like. One had, I think it was like silver looking thing. I don't know how to describe it exactly, but I do remember that each week they introduce a different villain, and kind of monstrous looking villain, and the villain would have about 7 or 8 guys that would help him, and they'd all have be wearing black, and I think they call them Shokans or something. Maybe I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. But I remember Kamen Rider would fight all of them, and then would at the end fight that villain and end up blowing up the villain. And I remember like last series of like the first Kamen Rider, the Kamen Rider had a showdown with the leader, and the leader ended up exploding, and this would happen with the next, the number 2 and number 3 and so on. But I do remember it going all the way to Kamen Rider V3, and it was an interesting show to watch. There were various other superheroes and shown in Okinawa as well. There was Ultraman, like also shown in the United States. There was Spectraman. There was Mirror Man. That was another one. There was Shogun Warrior. It was a cartoon animated. Some of those shows were animated, but they were interesting to watch. Like I said, when I got to be in like 7th grade, I think I started getting older and lost interest in it. But yeah, at the beginning, it was very interesting to watch. And here's a picture of the original Kamen Rider. There was no way I was going to do pictures of all the 123 ones that I saw on the YouTube video. If anybody wants to watch that, they can go to YouTube and find that. It's like a montage. It says Kamen Rider 1971 to 2014s, and all kinds of various versions. Some of them they made look somewhat similar to the original one, but I just was mainly going to focus on the original one and the one after that and V3, because those are the only ones I actually remember watching. And as always, thanks for watching.